generally speaking, more often than not, we've had a past life connection to them.
Yeah.
And truly, a lot of the healing comes, this isn't just about understanding our connection, our relationships, but sometimes we have a physical manifestation in a lifetime, and this work can kind of go back and take a look at what the root of that physical, the trauma, the phobia, the illness,
Phobias, right?
the relationships, all of that we can look at and explain, and more than explain, we can clear and heal. And it's profound, truly profound.
I read Brian Weiss's books. I love particularly his book, Only Love is Real.
Yes.
Which is just incredible how those people just kind of found each other. But the Many Lives, Many Masters book really actually was my first like delving into this subject, and really like, because basically his story is that he was a very medically based, science-based person, right? And he did not believe in past life. He was a hypnotherapist, right? And he was hypnotizing this woman to deal with her phobias, and she went back to sometime in England in like the 1800s or something, and was talking about her phobia in that way. And he looked it up. He went and looked at the records and was like, whoa, what am I dealing with here? So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the transformational tip in this is to believe your children when they're telling you something like, I had a 2-year-old doing an African dance. That's all I can say. And it is pretty, I don't know.
It's amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
And when you look at where the field comes from, we do credit Brian Weiss for bringing it. If he hadn't written those books and they became huge bestsellers, why did they sell so much? Because it really sort of brings up the entire understanding that no matter what your religious background, no matter what your faith tradition or your culture or where you're from in the world, if you really look, there's a pervasive knowledge of reincarnation. It exists in every culture, in every part of our history, in every religion. It's actually there. It's just not often talked about. When you go to Sunday school and you go to religious school, it's not the kind of thing that's necessarily mainstream, but it is there. So no matter who you are, if you're open-minded, and even if you're not, I like to say when I do this work, and I can tell you a little bit about the process itself, it doesn't really make a difference if you have a belief in this or not. It doesn't matter if you believe in reincarnation or not, because the healing will happen in the same way, which is great. Because not every person that I work with has the same belief system, and you don't have to. You just have to come with an interest and an open mind and say, I want to take a look at something in a new way.
Wow, terrific.
Yeah, it's really great.
So speaking of taking a look at something, I know that you have a very special transformational tool that you want to share with our viewers and invite them to also do. Do you want to just talk about that? Or I think you also have a picture of one at home, and anyway, just tell them.
The altar?
Yeah, let's talk about the altar.
So since I am a single mom and I do all of my different jobs, I really work from home, I think it's very important, especially when I have someone coming to my house to work with me as a past life regressionist, to make sure they're very, very comfortable. And in order for me to be very comfortable and sort of to give myself a break in the day, because there's no separation for me from the kids and the work and the clients and all of that, I think this is a great tool, building a sacred altar. And the word altar has a connotation of being religious, but actually I don't really think of it that way. I just think it's creating a special place in your home that is meant to offer comfort and inspiration, and just something that when you look at it, it reminds you who you are, how you feel about yourself. It can change with the season, it can change with your mood, you can put items on it, but every item should have personal significance to you, whether it's pictures of your children. And I brought a few items, and I thought it would be fun for us to maybe create one here.
Let's build an altar.
Great.
I also have a strong belief in building that kind of an altar. This is a special cloth from Bali, which it's an altar cloth, and we can just kind of put it on our set to help create an altar. There are all different color ones just to bring color, which I think is a nice tool for the altar.
These are so beautiful. Did you actually get these in Bali?
I didn't go to Bali. I want to go to Bali. I haven't. Actually, we can even do this so they can see it. I don't know. But the energy healing course comes out of Bali, and so we have like special bells and things to create sacred space, which is kind of what you're talking about,
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what you have.
Speaking of sacred bells, I happen to have brought, my kids love these. These are my little, we call them our little angel bells. Isn't that pretty?
Very pretty.
Very sweet. And when my kids were younger, I don't even know where I got these. For some reason, I have an association with them with my mother because it's something that my mom had in our house. And
Really?
I must have been, I don't even know how old they are, but they remind me of my mom.
Wow.
And then I've adapted their meaning, and now they also remind me of my children. So sometimes an object can be from years ago and maybe didn't even originally belong to you, but when you have an association and a memory and a feeling with it, then it becomes special. So I like to put that on my altar.
It's funny. I have an association of a bell with my mother too, because when we were sick, she would give us a little bell, and we could you imagine? Like never. I do not do this with my children. They would be ringing that bell every second, being like, Mom, bring me something, which we didn't really do, but she gave us a bell, so she would come running when we were sick.
That's
Could you
amazing.
imagine?
Were they bells like this?
They were a little thing. And my
keep
mother
that
would be
between
like,
us.
what do you need? Yeah, yeah.
I'm not going to give that to my children.
No,
either.
I don't give them to my children either. But it would be nice to honor my mother on my altar with a bell. But that's sweet that it brings generations together for you.
It does. In fact, speaking of generations, one of the things I like to put on my altar is my mother and my grandmother, who's passed now, were both poets, published poets.
Wow.
And I do credit them for my being a writer and being the blog name is Diva Mama, but I still write poetry and things.
Diva Mama.
I have lots of poetry, and I change them up depending on my mood and my, what I'm feeling.
Did you write this?
This is my grandmother's.
Your grandmother
So
wrote that
I honor
poem.
my grandmother.
Do you want to read it?
Sure, I'd love to.
Okay.
This is the generation of women who dare, fighting through cobwebs only women see, unclenching holds only women know. They struggle to be human and free. To be the object of another's love is not to love, and they would love at last. To shower earth with tears is not to succor sorrow, and they would mend in the Gehennas where they have only wept.
It's beautiful. Wow, go Grandma.
Go Grandma. This was, I think, published in her very first book many, many years ago. But
Wow.
so I honor my mother and I honor my grandmother. And I
you're
keep
writing.
writings. Yeah, so
Wow.
I put that on my altar.
I have something with writing. Can I? From my altar. This is a sign book, and it has all different beautiful inspirational signs. And the one it just happens to be on is "Desire is everything," and I have it on my altar because I believe that that's true. You can manifest what you desire. So, all right, we're building an altar. I love it.
That's beautiful.
Okay, what's next?
I have another little book too.
Oh, good.
See, after just reading, it's so lovely. This one was just given to me recently as a gift from one of the women that I took my certification training with, Diane Ward. She's a wonderful artist.
Okay.
And this is called The Art of Being Magnificent.
Wow.
Beautiful. She creates incredible Buddha art, and I have a large Buddha. I'll show you a picture where it's over the altar. So my altar is not just below, but also the artwork I have above. And this is just a magnificent little book with beautiful sayings and beautiful artwork that she has done.
The path to greater light is through the shadows of your darkness. Incredible.
I love just opening the book and seeing what comes up,
Right.
And that's the message I feel sometimes that I get for that day. So I have little inspirational readings and books over there as well.
I love your hands.
My hands.
Talk to me about the hands.
I love my hands.
Okay.
So these are open hands to receive whatever blessings, to receive whatever inspiration, to work with my hands, whether it's to write music, or to write physically. And
Gorgeous.
I always think of this as an openness.
Beautiful.
And also prayer hands, whether it's namaste, whether it's to receive in meditation.
Right.
These hands represent all of that, and mother's hands.
Mother's
loving.
hands. Okay, well, believe it or not, we're like at the end of our show almost. I know we didn't get a chance to completely, light our candles and create our complete altar, but I think that our viewers certainly have an idea of what to do and what they can create in their own life. So thank you so much for being here today. Just a quick wrap of the show. We had the hairstylist on. We did a 5-minute makeover to let you know that transformation of your appearance can be quick and easy. We have Shira Adler, and she transformed our space. And you too can create a sacred space in your home. I want to invite all of our viewers. Look, she's doing it in 30 seconds. I want to invite all of our viewers to please feel free to email the show. We want feedback. We'd love guest suggestions. We would love to know any tips that you have, even if you just want us to say them on air. You can email the show at toolsfortransformation@gmail.com. You can contact Shira at her website. I'm throwing that in for my editor. And we look forward to being with you next week. Thank you.